Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. You can hear me. Good. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Up now. Sorry, guys. Oh, how annoying is that? Now I've just got to turn my desktop audio down because I can hear myself talking to myself. Look, guys, we've got this new software which allows me to stream across a few different platforms, and we're still getting used to it. To be honest with you, we had the same issue with an interview last week with Tone, or a chat with Tone Vase, and yeah, I'm really sorry about that. So let me start again. We haven't seen a great deal going on, right? 3 weeks it's been. Overnight we saw another one of these big spike candles where everything happened very, very quickly. Now, while I'm on this, let me jump across the top 10 and show you top 10 cross with Bitcoin, because this is where I've got an issue. All right, let me show you something here. I'll go to the 1 minute. Okay, look, let's do this together. The start of this move was at 110. I'm going to write that down. 110. The last candle in that move on the downside is 123. We got that. Now, let's have a look at Litecoin over here. Okay. Back it out. All right, let's see the start of this move. 108. Okay, so it's slightly different. So that's BT. So bear with me because you're going to get this. LTC 108, and the lowest mark of that candle is at 123. So the low point is exactly the same as that of Bitcoin, but Litecoin started a little bit earlier. All right, it started the move a little bit before Bitcoin did. So you'd think that if we were to cross Litecoin with Bitcoin, we'd see maybe Litecoin be up a little bit to start off with, and then everything go back to normal because the market did the same sort of thing, more or less. Okay. It did happen. If anything, let's go and have a look. I want to confirm or deny this. I want to know what's going on here because it popped up this morning, and I wanted to make sure. And just check the questions. I wanted to make sure that that I got to the bottom of this. So let's have a look at the Bitcoin top 10 now. We're looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin. Back it out again. Where's that spike? Where did it go? Ha, there it is. Okay. 1 hour, there it is. 15 minutes. I'm just trying to keep it in my line of sight. There it is. Okay. So the Bitcoin move started at 110, which is there, right? Litecoin went up faster, according to this chart, than Bitcoin did. Then the end of the move was at 123 on Bitcoin and 123 on Litecoin. There's a time there 123 on Litecoin as well. Now here's where my issue comes. So I just wanted to show you the time. Okay, the only thing that started different was the start of the run up for Litecoin was earlier than the start of the run up for Bitcoin. All right. So bear with me. Now, let me take you across and show you this. Okay, look at that big spike there. Sorry, where am I going to? I've got to go to EOS. EOS. Okay, so EOS saw that spike as well. Look, I'll take you to the 15 minute. There's that big spike on EOS. There's that big spike on Ethereum. Now, we can probably look at that, just a visual right now. I know I have to go through percentages and everything, but look, they're very similar, right? They're very, very similar. Okay? Now, very similar to what we saw on Bitcoin and Litecoin, but let me show you the difference. You'd imagine that if they happened at about the same sort of time, then there should be not a great deal of difference, okay? When we pair EOS with ETH. And look, that's right. There isn't. There isn't a big, crazy move. There was a little bit of this, but it stayed really tight, which you'd think it would do. But Litecoin against Bitcoin didn't. It had a way bigger margin, a way bigger movement. I would have suspected that I would have seen the same sort of move here as what I would on Litecoin against Bitcoin. Now, I'm going to do the math on them eventually, and I want to see if there's any fishy business going on there. I think it's something to be aware of, because maybe the price shouldn't have done that on Litecoin against Bitcoin. Now that I've got that little bit out of the way, let's go and have a look at the markets. But I thought it was interesting. I noticed it this morning, and I wanted to just sort of share that with you to see what your thoughts were. If anyone does have any thoughts, let me know. But having a look here at Bitcoin now, of course, we did see pretty much the entire day's range. Well, not pretty much. It was the entire day's range in that 4-hour candle. And what you can see here is that's represented by this there candle. We've stayed in that sideways market. Now, if we look across at Ethereum, it's the same. If we look at EOS, it's the same. Nothing going on. Stellar, it's pretty much been the only performer so far, and it's had a nice run up, still in a nice uptrend. Ripple is pretty messy with a spike there as well. Litecoin, it's still on a good trend here, but it needs to push on to new highs for me to truly be interested. Bitcoin Cash, still very sideways. Binance against the dollar, against Tether. I need to see it pull back. I'm still long. My position, not on Tether, but I'll show that to you later. And Tron, sideways. Cardano has been sideways for the last couple of days. So, what do we got? Let's have a look across at the Bitcoin top 10, and I'm going to take you. There's a point to this, right? There's a point to me showing you this stuff. Again, sideways Ethereum, Bitcoin, ugly Ethereum. Ripple, Bitcoin, ugly Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin, Cardano, Bitcoin. I was actually stalking this yesterday for obvious reasons. It got back into that cradle zone right here. I just didn't get a setup. I just didn't get that small bullish candle that I was after. Stellar added to Coinbase Pro. Yeah, it's been a bit of that. That speculation had been around for quite a while, hadn't it? But it's done quite a nice move. Litecoin, Bitcoin, again, that was that spike we spoke of yesterday, starting to carry through. Needed to see it break those highs. EOS very sideways. Binance against Bitcoin. Let me just take that out because that was where my stop was from this trade back here. And it's no longer relevant. I'm not really looking to trade here, not even on the 12-hour or whatnot, because even though there is a small candle, I need to see it break to new highs. I'd actually really, honestly, prefer to see a bit of a pullback. My stop's still down here from this move here. I'm waiting for a bigger move. I'm happy to pull back. For it to pull back, where my stop is currently, there's still heaps of room. I'm sort of the last position that I've got. I'm happy to be in that for quite a while. I'm happy to take a bigger move. And Tron, of course, as well. If we look at this on the daily, not a great deal going on. So when we have Bitcoin really sideways like this, when it's super sideways, what do? Well, there's a time to trade against the dollar and make dollars, and there's a time to make sats. When Bitcoin does this, guys, that's when you go after sats. Now, let me take you through this Bitcoin top 100 list, and I want to just I want to sort of start outside. We've already looked at all these. I want to start here at Ethereum Classic. Now, I'm going to run through this scan pretty quickly, but we were looking for uptrends, good, strong uptrends. Notice how now we're starting to see a lot more bullishness in these alts against Bitcoin, because look at that. Look at OMG, right? Big moves against Bitcoin right now because Bitcoin's sideways. Now, I love to trade leverage against the dollar for that simple reason that it doesn't have the same level of volatility as what Bitcoin does. Now, when Bitcoin is not volatile, it's a good time to be trading our alts. Look at Lisk. I mean, what a move that is. We're seeing this across the board happening more and more and more. And what I'm looking for is a nice, strong trend. Now, of course, moving into sats, it's still dollars because it converts back to Bitcoin. All right. And even if I bank Bitcoin, I can still convert that back to dollars if I wish to, and buy myself a car or whatever I want to buy. So it's still worth your while doing. And for me personally, I build my Bitcoin stack because I want to have more Bitcoin. Now, what I'm also noticing is this: lots of spikes in the market. You'll see this now. Alts have started to move. I've been watching BitShares for a while now. Note this time frame down here. A move up, pulled back in beautifully well. A really nice pullback into that cradle zone and a really nice move. I failed to catch that move. I did not take that trade, just so you are aware. I'm not going to claim something I didn't do. MKR for me, it's just too thin. The books are just far too thin for me to get a decent sized position. But if you have a look at on the 2-day, it's had that last little bullish candle in there. It's not a trading opportunity for me, just simply because it's a little bit too thin. I'm just not a big fan of those thin markets. QGIM had a big pump yesterday, pulling straight back very quickly. When you are trading your alts at the moment, if you do find a trade, it's not a bad idea to have a ridiculous target. Okay, I know, say when you're trading on Binance, you can only have one or the other, a stop or an exit point, which is a bit of a pain. I know. It's not ideal, but you know, if you're there, if you happen to be around, either watch it or have an alert set on it. Probably an alert's best, so you can jump in and close it if you do see a silly move like this, because they don't last for long. They typically shoot up and come back. I mean, have a look here. It was up there for half an hour. 15 minutes it stayed up around these levels to get out, and then it pulled back very, very quickly. So that's why it's so important to have targets. Again, you see OX starting to trend. I want to see it get a bit more momentum here. Bitcoin Diamond, a big spike and a pullback. I've been watching Digibyte for a while now for obvious reasons. That's why that's little flags there. It's in my watch list. Have a look at the higher low, higher high. I'd love to see it pull back in. I'd love to see it just calm down a little bit, to be honest with you. It's kind of a little bit excited. Flat level, possibly. Nothing there yet. I'm keeping it in the list because it is a really nice looking trend, and I pull back in, you know, or just continues to do what it does. That might be worthwhile. Zilliqa's not doing a great deal there. It needs to move on a bit further. ICX was looking good throughout this period. I took this trade here. I got stopped out, unfortunately, but that's what happens. Really nice trend, and I'm happy to continue to watch this, but not right now. AEB, as you can see here, I was watching this resistance level. I didn't trade this because there was no reversal of trend. It's still fairly sideways in my eyes. The 4-hour higher low, higher high is definitely in play, but I need to see it push on a little bit better. You see, I only trade really strong trends. I do not touch anything other than strong trends on multiple time frames. Now, Steam, here's a good one for the weekend, guys. If you know what the cradle strategy is, which is, you know, inside of this moving averages, in and around this area, kind of where it is, good convergence, yada, yada, yada. You either know the rules or you don't. The 2-day, we're looking pretty sweet there as well. Now, what I'm pretty much, let's have a look at the 16. It's too far outside. It's the daily only. A small bullish candle in here may present an opportunity. I'm happy to not add that. Actually, I will add it because tomorrow I might feel lazy. So I'll have a look back tomorrow around 11 o'clock or just before. Verge is getting some momentum, but not tradable for me just yet. ETP is too thin. BAT is a bit spiky and all over the shop. Argo, again, the same. I just don't like these big spikes. I don't like that. It tends to be on small volume. Hot's too small. Pay too thin. Stratus needs to break that resistance level down here properly on the daily. I know it's broken, but it faded. I want to see that continue. I want to see that trend come into a bit more of its own. I'm just checking if there's any questions. Walton, look, it is in an uptrend here. Let's have a look at this. The 4-hour, the candles are a bit funny. They're a bit out of control. That's too big for the 12. There's nothing on the 8. Sometimes when you get a good trend, you've got to be patient. You just have to wait. Higher low, higher high, but there's no trade just yet. And they're pretty big candles for the time being. It seems to have a fairly big daily range. Now, that might sound like a good thing for a trader, but for me, it's got to have a good, good volatility. Sorry, good. Volume, so I can get a position on. This actually looks a lot better on Binance, and I'll show it to you in a minute. Populous, it's just too thin, and those spikes. Komodo, the same sort of thing, just too spiky. Status Network, okay, what's going on here? Look, honestly, see these big spikes? Doesn't fill me with joy. I know they're in the right direction for going long, but they can just as well go down and hurt you really badly. Yeah, look, in all honesty, it's just not good enough. It's not clear enough. You look at the Binance chart and that wonderful trend, you know, that's a good, clear trend. These sorts of things with these big spikes, not good enough. One chain. Now, here's one that got away from me. It was just a bit late at night. I was in bed. You can see higher low, higher high, pulled back in. It was in the list for me to stalk. There's a cradle trade right there, and it's doing real well. It's not really good for me right now with that divergence as it is. I probably want to see it pull back a little bit more on the daily this time. Nothing on Internet of Services. Aeon was on the list. Moving average is fanning quite nice. A little bit of resistance up there, but it's getting too funky right now. Link, not doing enough for me. Elf. Here was one, actually there's a video that'll be out in the next sort of hour or so for anybody who's on the free subscription list. It's just on the homepage to show you some of the trades from some last week and the week before. It's just a really, last week, well, got in a couple of weeks ago on this, but last week was the move. I didn't take this, just to put a caveat. I did not take that trade. I took a different one. I did not take that trade. I was happy with how my portfolio was balanced, but it was an option that I pointed out, and it's moved very, very well. Of course, I wish I had taken that trade now, but not really. I was pretty happy. I had I had 2 positions on Binance, and I was sort of sitting pretty happily. I didn't want to leave Binance to take that. ARK, look at this. This is what I don't like. Hang on. Have a look, right? See these big spikes? All these? Don't like that. Really, really messy. It's not what I call optimal chart structure, and this market has a lot of spikiness in that. Call it manipulation, call it, it doesn't really matter what you call it. I just don't really like that. Zen, again, there's a lot of spikes. Remember how I said at the beginning of this video, you're going to see a lot of spikes. Well, look, there's heaps of these spikes. Quite the same. Pay, spikes. Digi, spikes. MCO or crypto.com. Spikes, again, I think it's because of small volume and it's easier to manipulate this market. Now, GXS for me was on my list. Again, you'll see this pattern. Moves away, pulls back into that cradle zone. Great move. Again, didn't get that one. I was stalking for a trade here, but look at how it's getting all messy. See this? Nice and smooth. That's what I like. Up here, too messy. It's all over the place. Maddie, right. Has it started yet? I'm not quite sure if you... I'm not quite... Yep, it certainly has. I mean, even with that, I spoke about that this morning on my scan. It's just not quite good enough. Again, you know, you might be sitting there going, geez, how bloody annoying is this bloke? He doesn't take anything. I do. I'm just very patient. I don't need to have lots of trades. As a matter of fact, lots of trades is more work. I'd rather not have lots of trades and make my life easy. Much better for me. I'm happy to look at this on the pullback on the daily. A couple of big spikes there. It needs to calm down. It's not done that just yet. Mona's average, power ledger. Look, it's gaining some momentum. Higher low, higher high. It's just a big candle here. So there's nothing there. Look how messy it is through here. Yeah? Really messy. Theta, again, really good moves here. We caught one back here and getting messy here. So happy to leave that. Wax. All right, this is a nice looking trend so far. Again, if it slows down, falls back into the cradle zone, I just want it to slow. I don't want it to go thump straight back down. I want it to meander down slowly, like it did over here. You know, I'm not saying that was a trade. I'm just saying that's the sort of thing I want to see. I want to see it calm itself down. And, oh, I see. I think, Maddie, you're probably watching it from the start, maybe. I'm not sure. Anyway, sorry, I've got to keep going. Yeah, so it's pulled back in. I'm waiting for that more so on the daily than anything else. CMT, well, that was a cradle from the other week. Again, one that's going out in the video. I didn't take it as a cradle. I wanted a tighter stop. Some people in the group did, and they did very well, obviously. For me, I was sitting in a car heading up the coast this time last week. Actually, yeah, it was literally right around now. Yeah? And I needed 15 minutes for this this candle to close, and I could get a stop underneath here, and I'd get a great stop loss. As it turns out, it would have been a great one anyway. I missed the boat on that, but again, a cradle trade back into this area. I was just being a little bit too cautious, maybe. Nexus is pulling back into that cradle zone. Just keep meandering and give me a nice little bullish candle. I'll be happy. Zcoin, another massive spike. Loopring. Well, for me, what this says is this. Resistance here. If I can see this build up into here with a continuation of higher lows, get that MACD rolling back to the upside so it's convergent, and I get some more tests up here. Look, it's a weekend possibility. I don't see it happening today. I think it's a weekend possibility only. Gas had a little pump to the upside and pulled back into that cradle zone really nicely. Went to one very quickly, but that happened again too late for me. I wasn't able to grab a hold of that one. All right, cool. She'll carry on. Too spiky here on Pivex, really looking a bit unhappy. Kyber Network. Now, this was probably the best trade. Well, the best in terms of how quickly things happen. Talked about this last week. A pullback into the cradle zone, small little bullish candle. This has been this has been the best trade ever for some people, because within a few days it had done 130%. So very, very large move. You know, 43 plus 38 to the close. A lot of people did very, very well, and there was a potential to move your stop to there after taking your profit out. Of course, you would have been stopped out now, but you know your entry's here. If you even got stopped out there, it's still like a multiple of 4 or 5. It was an absolute doozy. So again, You might look at me doing the scan now going, geez, he's picky. Yeah, I am, but because I can be. Look at these sorts of moves that we get. You know, you put a few Bitcoin on that, well, 100% move, you've just doubled whatever you put on that position. Say you put 5 Bitcoin on that, you just made 5 Bitcoin in 4 or 5 days. I'm happy to wait around for those sorts of moves, right? Die, no. Loom, too spiky. Nulls, Muli Hyena, that'll make sense if you'd like rugby. Nothing there. Syscoin, spike. ENG, spike. Ode, too thin. EMC, flat to spiky. Polymath, average as well. Factum, sideways. This is the worst name for a coin I've ever seen in my life. I just call it gross coin. But what a move. 120% it was. No trade there, and still no trade there. Not interested in that at all. What else have we got? Bites, sideways. Civic, it had a pump as it does from time to time. It's starting to get a little bit more momentum, though. You can see it's clearly in an uptrend. I just wish these things didn't happen because it turns it off for me. I don't want to trade with those sorts of spikes. Storage is average. Sky is average. Storm is getting some momentum, but still not good enough for me to trade and see a coin. Well, there you have it. It's right there in front of you. It's not doing much either. So what are we going to do? Well, we trade our alts. For me right now, today, I did take a trade. I am in this, and it's not going so well just yet. Look at this, right? I got a stop. I ended up going for a stop here. It has to be quite wide. There's no leverage on this puppy. 1 test, 2, 3, 4, boom, boom, boom. Good convergence. It just went up and back in very, very quickly. Oh, and guess what? Yep, a spike. Don't like spikes. Big spike there. That's a 4-hour. The daily, it calmed down a bit. Really looking at this for a continuation of this trend. I am long on Golem against Bitcoin, and you know what? Time will tell. I'll either do well or I won't. But my stop's down here, and you know, still early days. Only just filled a few hours back. We shall see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, I really wanted to just sort of go through a bit of a scan with you guys. No matter, you don't have to be a member to see it live. But just to give you a heads up as well, today's the last day till midnight. We're doing this Women's Week. We've been putting a lot of women out there on the podcast. If you wish to, you can jump on and get 30% off. Just go to the website, click on that little tag thing that you see in your face, and you're good to go. But I wish you all having a good weekend this weekend. I hope that was beneficial. I hope you got to sort of see a bit about what we do in live trading floor and VIP. So we do that scan every single day. We do both the margin pairs, which is this bunch, which is leverage trading pairs, and then we also go through and do the top 100. I need to make a change to that list to update it a little bit, but that's pretty much what I do every single day for the membership. But I wanted to do it for you guys today to show you what's coming up for the weekend. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. No, David, I didn't get this out in time for a heads up call. I did put it in the Slack community though. It did go in the Slack as a, you know, send a screenshot so you guys could do the work and work out if you wanted to do it or not. No worries, guys. I'm glad you enjoyed it. AGI. I've heard a bit about AGI. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, that's looking right, isn't it? It's gone a bit. It's a bit full on right now. I mean, the thing is, for me, the way I trade, it's just got a straight up. It's just gone straight up. You know, it's not got that daily trend that I really, really like. I mean, certainly if you're a holder of this, fantastic. And if you look at this on the 2 hour, as a matter of fact, a perfect little cradle opportunity there. But look, for me, it's not really been on my radar, and it's something that I like to see a daily trend in there as well. But for those of you that got that or took that or are in that, good on you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I will say goodbye. Have a fantastic weekend, and I look forward to bringing you more of this stuff. Cheers, guys. Bye.